An incredible track in the middle of Finland in a theme park, putting it down as Paweł Kompolinski leaves the line. The Polishman sits in 11th with a 93.2 at the moment. Paints the back bumper on the all the way around that wall. Now starts to get himself into that outside zone, and once again another technical line driver, a man that's used to the sim, probably done a 1,000 runs of this circuit on the simulator before he even came here. And look at this from Kompolinski, locks up the foot brake.
They sit out on the podium at round one, yet to kind of get that feeling back and get back into the zone. A few issues this year, come up against some tough battles as the Andy fires flames from underneath the car. Saga into the zone, fires through, down, very fast transition. It's on an absolute screamer this weekend. That line is beautiful so far. Can he hold on to it? He certainly can. He's going to go very wide there. It's a nice line from Ite as he dabs the handbrake, sets himself up for this outside zone. Very fast pass of the circuit from this young man as he gets in
on the car, and he's come out absolutely flying. Huge initiation. You are into no answer for the initiation. Jack Shannon is like a rocket ship through the first two corners, but now Rintanen starts to turn the screw and get back into this one. Where is he in the smoke? There he is. Rintanen pops out on the door of Jack Shannon. Last minute dive as Shannon throws it out to the wall, and what a lead run this is as Juha Rintanen now just towards the end of the run gets up on the door.
To initiation as Vincek fires that in, as Vicek fires it right where it needs to be, and look at this zone from Kevin Purcell all over the door, goes for an early transition, almost makes a massive mistake, tries not to lose too much ground as Vicek fires it back across the circuit again into the outside zone. He's got such a beautiful lead line all weekend. Into the wall he goes, and look at this from Kevin Purcell, finding the door, finding the side of that A90 Supra as they bring it across the...
If Conor Falvey knocks this one out of the park, he could end up facing off against Dave Egan in the top 32. That would be interesting. Not pushing for it a lot, I am the whole way. Look at the angle though that Falvey fires in though as he puts that car to angle, gets it dialed on the outside zone, and look at the line. This young man, I'm telling you now, is so talented. It's unbelievable. That sim drifting coming through. Look at that big clutch kick, dips it down and across the line he goes, and he needs to put a tyre mark on both doors and take the rear bumper clean off of Conor's car, and he's going to go for it. Dangerous dive, but Zalewski gets himself caught up, has to think about it, get himself back into the mix as he dives through the smoke. Shanahan on an incredible lead line, and that opens the door for Zalewski to make the dive. Zalewski shallows up the angle, looks for the side of Conor Shanahan's 86 once again as they finish.
Leads out Paweł Kompolinski, and Kompolinski will know what he needs to do, and he does it already as he jumps onto the back bumper of that A90 Supra, and look at the pace from Vicek as he puts that car right it needs to be. It looked like he was going to completely fall off track, but he held on to it. Kompolinski holding on right now as they fire into the wall section. I don't think that Vicek has come off the throttle from the moment he left the start line. This is unbelievable.
Shanahan, he looks for him, he goes onto the back bumper even earlier. Now they go into outside zone 1, but Shanahan carries more angle. They transition down into 2, and Shanahan is still glued to the side of Zalewski. He goes for the transition. Shanahan keeps it clean this time. They look for the wall and they make it. Oh, and Shanahan nearly hits him as he now shortcuts, makes a dive, looks for the front wheel, jumps up onto the door of Zalewski. A big name, a big local name. Now, as look at this, Bertans flicks that car from left to right, fires in, keeps it dialed. Shanahan on the door though. Shanahan goes for a brake transition. He's on the foot brake, he's got more pace, he shallows up the angle as they transition in front of the grandstand. Bertans goes deep. Look at Shanahan looking for the early transition, trying to get back on the door. Shanahan absolutely ruling him, absolutely clinical on the chase across the line.
That is a phenomenal
Qualifying score as the light now starts to fall in Finland. What are we going to get from the Polishman as he puts that car right where it needs to be? Absolutely lights up the scoreboard so far as Vicek now fulfills that inner zone, fires towards the wall. Look at this, nice and deep. He looks like he's got this one dialed as he comes down the hill, picks up that line perfectly as Vicek fires that car through that second to last outside zone. Up the wall he goes. That's
The driver that we wanted to move up, gain some more points for qualifying as he goes through the gears, flicks that Toyota GT86 to angle, 2JZ underneath the bonnet, absolutely screaming as he puts the floor, big transition, full throttle, no messing around for Shanahan as he comes down in front of the grandstand, puts that car at even more angle. Very nice line for Shanahan as he picks up the outside zone. Good transition back, a little down with the handbrake. Look at that line though in the outside zone, it's absolutely beautiful as he puts the bumper to the wall and across the line. He is the former King of Riga as they fire in. Shanahan goes to the door of Vicek and they mirror the angle, and look at this, door to door on the transition. Vicek goes for that nice wide line as he puts that car right where it needs to be. Shanahan through the smoke as Vicek pushes the car right to the edge of the circuit, back on the transition into the outside zone as Vicek puts the bumper to the wall, and Shanahan goes for wheel on door across the line.
on the hunt right now for that top step. What can he do though? A few points left in the bag, and look at this smoke from the back of Kvyat's car. Full commitment on the handbrake. Look at the line into outside zone 4. Keeps it clean as Kvyat now drops down a little shallow maybe, but who am I to judge on this man's driving right now as Kvyat dials the angle in, picks up the front clipping point, dumps the clutch across the line.
Olsen get away as Olsen now works his way through the gears, flicks that car to angle on initiation, and look at this from Wojciech, absolutely beautiful, onto the side of that carbon Kevlar S15 as now Wojciech goes for it again, a little wobble as Simon Olsen sets himself up for that outside zone. Back across the track they go, back once again as Wojciech dives through the smoke, looks for the door, hunting down Simon Olsen as he pushes the Norwegian across the line.
Yeah, Simon just...
He's got to get the job done here, and he goes for a nice initiation, and Kylie starts to pull away from Shanahan. They go wide on the outside zone as Kylie flicks the car across the circuit. Now Shanahan starts to make his move up on the inside. Kylie on a nicer lead line. Shanahan goes for it. Oh, but it's messy from both of them on the transition. How did they even make that work into the wall? And Shanahan and Kylie stay in it as Shanahan's closer than Kylie, the back end.
Has he got the resolve to do it?
Well, he needs to. He needs to pull everything he's got out of it. Look at this. Shanahan flicks the car across the circuit. Vincek's with him though on the foot brake. Vincek closer than anyone. Wobbles and wavers as Connor Shanahan gets himself deep in the zone. Vincek's glued to the side of that GT86. They transition back. Vincek with a weird line as they come to the outside zone. Vincek loses some ground on the transition. Shanahan gets himself up to the wall, tags the wall on the foot brake. Vincek's on the back bumper across the line.
That's a close one. That's a close one.
Fires from the back of this turbo BMW E46. Fires it in. Nice line so far from Oliver Randalou. Puts that car right into that zone. You can see him fighting with the steering wheel though, trying not to let that wall run upset the front wheels too much as he now looks for outside zone 4. Nice and deep. The tailgate popping open a little bit as he's rubbed it off on the wall. And look at this. Works like an air brake almost as he slows that car down. Transitions to the last two outside zones. Drops
Here in Riga in Latvia, first time driving the Mustang here on Latvian soil as he flicks that car across the circuit. Much nicer initiation this time from James Deans. He puts both rear wheels of that Mustang into that zone, and that's a fast transition as he comes down. A little adjustment on the steering wheel, but gets it dialed in into the zone now. Big flick across the track, looks for the outside zone. It's a much cleaner from James Dean this time into that outside zone, perfectly timed as Dean sets the back end along the wall on the throttle as he absolutely hammers the tail right towards the wall.
Aaron Shanahan is going to go for that early initiation. Look at the snap to angle. Jack Shanahan is all over Bertans. They're still in this one. How is he getting away with these transitions as Jack Shanahan reels in the youngster? He is not going to be outdone today. He is more aggressive. He's got more pace, and now one more transition to go. Bertans goes to the wall. Shanahan goes to the door. We go to our knees once again.
He is off the line, ready to rock and roll. The Finnish driver fires in that JZX 100, but he's down on the inside and it forces Vincek onto the inside of the circuit. He deals with it. The Polishman absolutely cool, calm and collected and aggressive and keen for it, and he is going to go 100%. But look at the lead line from Jarkko Jula now as he starts to clean it up. Big angle as he throws that JZX to the wall. Peter Vincek gets onto the door, pushes the Finishman across the line.
from Poland. 2JZ Nissan 206 S14A fires through, and this man really does come alive in the chase driving. He's a very good line driver, another sim driver behind the scenes as Pavel Korpolinski puts that car right where it needs to be. A little shallow on some of these zones. Now dials that car in an angle, barely touches the handbrake to slow it down. Back on throttle nice and early and across the
in, and Shannon throws it in fast, but he hasn't got the pace to the first corner. He's going to have to start cutting the track. Big risk for Connor Shannon there to try to get back on it, but Connor Shannon does not have the pace right now. As they go into that last zone, guys are just flirting with disaster at the edge of the course, and Shannon dives back into that last corner, right up onto the door, onto the finish line. Unbelievable stuff. Connor Shannon trying his best, but it might...
Fires that car through the start line and through the gears as Shanahan jumps straight onto the back bumper. He fires it alongside him. They go angle for angle, matched mirror image as they transition to outside zone 4. Wojciech stalls up, can't get deep into that zone, and Shanahan follows him through as Shanahan pops through the smoke. Wojciech goes for the wall, Shanahan goes for the door. They both put back bumper to back bumper on the wall. He's timed it right or not, but it makes it go on the back bumper, that's for sure. Shanahan